Hello, welcome to the HockeyBuzzcast. The new season is upon us. This is episode 1 of season whatever it is of us. We've been doing this
6,000.
6,000, but we're one of the older hockey podcasts. I think continually running hockey podcasts, Mike, on the internet. When you think about it, like we go back. I mean,
oh yeah.
When did you and I start doing it?
We're older than Spittin' Chicklets. Oh well, okay. I remember. Okay, the Rangers Kings Stanley Cup final was 2014, correct?
Yeah.
We were doing it before then because
before that, yeah.
Yeah, so I think it was like 2013.
I'm going to say like at least 10 years. But yeah, before we start, just really quick, and we're going to get right to hockey. And I just wanted to thank you guys personally, and Kevin and everybody else. I've been going through a lot. I've had all the women in my life, basically, and my son have all been in the hospital at some point over the last couple months. It's been really, really just a really bad streak of things. Like one of those things, like what do we need to do to get back to normalcy type feeling around here. But I'm just really, really happy that you guys have just proven time and time again how amazing you both are, and Kevin and everybody at HockeyBuzz, Karen especially at Karen and Bill Meltzer. You guys are just really beyond belief, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart. And my wife thanks you, and we all thank you. And Mike, you're like family. You've been doing this for such a long time, and you proved to yourself just to be bigger than anything. So I appreciate it. That's all. I just wanted to say that.
I'm bigger because my waistline's
yeah.
Well, about your waistline, if you go on to my Instagram feed or Twitter feed, you could check out my new sandwich creation, and that's a Spamish, and that is it's turkey spam. It's actually good. It's turkey spam and mustard, brown mustard on a knish.
You lost me on this mustard.
And the turkey spam, has been treated in the pan. Trust me when I tell you, it is great. If you put it together like a sandwich, it would be great too. I did it open-faced. Either way, it's great.
I like
you eat turkey, right? I knew that, but yeah. So you'll eat turkey spam, right? You won't eat regular spam.
Yeah, I won't eat the regular spam, but I eat the turkey spam. First time I tried it, and I put it, like I said, put it on a knish with the right mustard, and fantastic.
Somebody, go ahead.
So my wife and I were, I spent a lot of time in like I said, in hospitals and trying and binging things because we've been sitting there waiting for tests and different things like that. And I've been sitting by people's beds and all kinds of stuff like that. So we were looking for a show to binge, and we realized that a show that we had never watched before, because when it came out, we were basically changing diapers, was Dawson's Creek.
You actually caught up with that. That's funny.
Is that funny? So
Katie Holmes.
Isn't that funny? Now I know that one of my songs is on episode 6, the season 6, episode 15. And they were famous for their music and the thing that they use on there. But I have not yet seen that. I've never seen it. So, and we're not skipping ahead. So we're like in the middle of episode 3, and what a weird show! Like in perspective of time and how things have been. It's a good show. Did you guys watch it at all? Did you?
I have never watched it. I know the actors because a lot of them have become big.
Yeah.
No.
I never watched. I never sat down and watched an episode. I'd like flip through the channels and saw it and just, hey, Katie Holmes is cute.
Katie Holmes is very cute. She looks like a 3-year-old baby. Like her face. As far as her face goes, she's got that like thing that everybody says babies are adorable because we just love babies. She's got the baby face proportions down to like a T.
Wasn't Michelle Williams in that show too?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah.
I mean, it's well written. I mean, they're 15-year-olds, which makes no sense. I mean, they're all like in their 20s when they're doing it.
All those shows, everybody's 10 years older.
They don't look anything like they're 50. Like they don't, and the way the wording and the things. Like my son's 18. I'm like, he's not using like these kind of words. Like
I saw an episode of Felicity a couple.
Felicity's another. We thought about that was the other choice we were going to make.
And I've got a thing for Carrie Russell, but I mean, yeah, everybody just looks so young. And I'll just tell you just briefly because I think I regaled you with the fact that like I was watching. During the pandemic, I was watching NCIS episodes. I went through 20 seasons of NCIS. And then Russ is making fun of me because the next big show that I went through was Blue Bloods, and I went through 14 seasons of Blue Bloods. So now I'm branching out and I'm doing 2 series at the same time. I'm alternating.
Okay.
2 completely different from each other. One is the X-Files.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's a good one, and I like the show a lot. I did watch it back in the day, but I didn't watch like it religiously one episode after the other. So I'm enjoying that. And the other one, and I think Russ laughed at this one too, is Castle.
I don't know that one at all.
Castle.
Castle is basically he's a mystery writer, or he's a writer of like murder mysteries, and he works with the police, and of course he's working with an incredibly beautiful detective, and that whole thing.
Yeah, he's just like network crap. That's what it boils down to.
It's really like, and
at least I just watching was on like the CW.
Fox. It was on Fox.
Well, CW.
I think it was on the CW. I think Russ is right.
Right.
I think
So
it was
at
on the
least there's a
CW.
little
Maybe
to it. You're watching just basic network crap.
I'm on like episode 2, season 2, episode 16, which is like 40 episodes in, because they have big seasons.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
back then they did a lot of shows. Yeah.
I'm like, how can they've already all been with each other, not without each other, like 3 times. Like, how can this possibly go from here? But anyway, we'll see.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Good luck with the show.
Let's start. Here we go. Hello, Hockey World. How you doing out there? It is Wednesday, September 27th, 2023.
You got it right. I'm Michael Agello.
I'm Russ Cohen from Sportsology.
And I am, I think, still, and I believe to be, Eklund. You're watching HockeyBuzzcast on HockeyBuzz.com. This is the podcast that comes to you with the regularity of a tropical storm.
Well, and, but it's notable, and I send it to you in our group text.
Yeah,
you are trending.
I was trending on Twitter because that's how excited people were to get the podcast back, right, Mike? That's why I was trending, right? Eklund was trending on Twitter.
Fantastic.
So I sent my buddy Oren Koulis, who used to own the Lightning, and is the creator of the Saw series. So Mike, you sent me this thing, and right above it is Saw 10 is opening up. So right above me is Saw 10, and then trending Eklund, and I sent it to Oren. I'm like, hey, you and me, Ann, we're killing the world today.
But then under that, it's the next one was Trump fraud, which
well, that's timeless.
That's timeless, exactly, right.
Oh man. So many things we talk about, but let's. I think we should. Where do you want to start, Mike? I mean, I'll let you think.
Well, let's catch up with this because
we got some current news, and then I really want to get into this ESPN thing because it's really.
No. The thing that, because it's an evolving story, and it started a few weeks ago, and I'm not a frequent watcher of or listener of Spit and Chicklets, but I have to give.
I've actually never heard it.
Yeah, I have to give Paul Bissonnette a lot of credit for sort of sticking to his gun.
He's on there? Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, him and Ryan Whitney and a few others. I'm pretty sure a few others. But I've never listened to a full episode. And I know there are people that I know and like who have been guests on the show. But I have to give him credit because he came out after getting information about Mike Babcock from one of the Columbus Blue Jacket players and saying that Babcock was pulling the crap that he was pulling. And when people sort of like, well, it's coming from Paul Bissonnette, and they tried to sort of shut him up, or at least, in a way cover for Babcock.
Yeah.
Stuck to his guns, and he said, no, this is being reported. The PA got involved.
Yeah.
The players, I think once the PA got involved, had the intestinal fortitude to say, yes, he's pulling this crap.
Correct.
And Babcock resigned. And honestly, I was around for a full year for the covering the Leafs when Mike Babcock was there. He's a bully. He's been a bully for most of his career. You could get away with that coaching crap, what he pulled with Johan Franzen in Detroit or Mitch Marner in Toronto. You could get away with that back in the day when you were guaranteed that he was going to win Stanley Cups or win Olympic gold medals. Yeah. Now that he's just an also-ran coach, they're not taking that crap from anybody. So him, and then what just happened with Kevin Constantine, the former NHL coach who has been suspended by the Western Hockey League. And it came out yesterday that the reason that he was suspended was because he used a racial epithet in the locker room. Probably, I had heard it was because of some of the music that was being listened to. This kind of crap does not belong in hockey anymore.
It really doesn't. I mean, there's so many different angles to this, obviously. Like, you talk to some people. Did you get any of this, Russ, when I was talking to people as well? Or you might, either of you, obviously, or anybody out there in the chat room or anybody in the world can answer this question. I got some people who actually said that they thought the Blue Jackets should have defended Babcock better.
No, I did not hear that at all.
I actually got that from people.
Wow.
Which, it shows how out of touch people are, how different things. But I did talk to people about it, and they said, well, this is why you have to defend your coach in situations like this. I'm like, you don't have to defend your coach in situations like this.
No, I think they did the right thing. With Constantine, I'm not surprised, and that's what I kept hearing. nobody was surprised. So that's an easy one. With the Babcock one, I think it's become a thing because in the world, with all this cancel culture talk, that there are people that want to now defend some of these people because they don't want it to be cancel culture. In their eyes, it looks like that.
Right.
They feel like they need, better defending. But when that thing was laid out, I didn't think it needed better defending. I think it actually needed better reporting. I didn't like the way Biz Nasty, Paul Bissonnette was putting it out there in a crude way. I didn't like that.
Well,
I didn't
but he did get the job done. So
but and to that point, see, the thing is, things got sort of obfuscated because you had the Mike Commodores of the world who thinks that Mike Babcock was a concentration camp guard. That's how much he hates the guy.
Yeah.
I mean, it was clouded by that. The hatred that Commodore and other players have towards Babcock, maybe, people say, well, they have an agenda. No, he's just acting like an idiot. He's doing things that he shouldn't do. And then in the end, it burned him. It's like, I have no sympathy for him at all. He got $50 million out of the Leafs for 4 years' work. He can live on that the rest of his life. He's never going to make the Hall of Fame. Probably, at least I don't think he will.
And I think this will pretty much solidify that. I was thinking about that. I mean, he probably wasn't going to the Hall of Fame anyway, but at this point, right? Like, I mean, it's like,
two Olympic gold medals, 3 Stanley Cup finals, and a Stanley Cup win. If this stuff hadn't happened, I think he's
right. If we go back before Mitch Marner and all of that stuff, but since Mitch Marner thing put it like in serious doubt, and then for it to happen, something similar to happen again, not the same thing, but something, I think that's it. I mean, I think that I just I feel bad for Blue Jackets. I really do in a lot of ways, because I really think that they're trying. They really are trying to do something kind of special. Like they got a great draft pick.
Fantilli, he'll be terrific.
Fantilli lace and a pretty face. He's going to be great. And Gaudreau had a surprisingly good year last year. Like when you look at the statistics, I mean, he's 84, 85 points, something like that. So not bad.
I mean, they have a lot of talent. Obviously, I mean, Fantilli joining Kent Johnson, you get a healthy Werenski back. You bring in Provorov, you bring in Damon Severson. I mean, there's a lot there. The goaltending, I think, is still a little bit of a question mark. We're going to see if Merzlikins is good. And, I mean, the thing is, I think the reason they went the direction of Babcock is they wanted a disciplinarian to sort of whip that team into shape like he did with the young Leafs team in 2016. I don't know much about Pascal Vincent other than he's a longtime assistant coach. I've heard good things about him, but there might have been if they had moved on to another veteran coach, I was saying to Russ, a guy like Alain Vigneault or Claude Julien or something like that. I thought they were going to go that direction. They went with Vincent. We'll see how it goes. I mean, I think they have a chance to make the playoffs, but everything has to fall into place.
Yeah, it's funny because Mike and I were talking offline, and I thought Vincent right away. Now, what I wasn't thinking about, sometimes you forget to connect the dots too, and that Vincent had worked with Line A as the assistant in Winnipeg, so that's actually a very good thing to try and push Line A. But I had heard good things about Vincent, so that's why when I looked, because I don't keep up with every single assistant on every single staff. You forget where guys are. And you start looking it up, and I was like, Vincent's actually a good guy to bring in. And I felt like since he was there for a little while, it wasn't like they had to go on an exhaustive search for a coach. So I thought it was a smart move.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. I mean, to me, I don't know. I really do. I don't agree necessarily, Mike, with what you're saying in terms of the fact that when you were saying that they were doing this to get like discipline and stuff like that. I don't think that's what this team needed. I think what this team needed was legitimacy. Like I think that Babcock gives them an NHL legitimacy that could potentially, I mean, obviously not now but really, and should have been thought about, get them other players to come there. Like they suddenly become more of a serious franchise, and this,
but he's a hard driving coach.
Yeah, and it's a major money commitment, and to me, and those things are the kind of things that the players who are unsigned look for. Like, are they willing to spend? Are they trying to win? and that's a move that says we are in the NHL. We're trying, that's 100. Babcock's an NHL legendary coach. They just picked the wrong guy. I mean, there's other guys that could legitimize them if they want to go that way.
Yeah, I would say it like this, and I think they're going to have good luck with this because I think they still have a good coach. There's always a lot of guys that are worthy out there. So that's why I don't like to see a lot of the recycling. And it has to be a point where you look at a guy and you say, okay, we've tried this. This guy has been tried out so many times that, all right, it's not worth doing it anymore.
Yeah, there's a refreshing quality with going with a new coach. It's like an undiscovered country. It's like, the Sabres went with Ralph Kruger. That was an unmitigated disaster. He was the Rex Ryan of NHL coaches in terms of being just a complete fake and blowhard. And they went with Don Granato. And I'm telling you, there is such unanimity in that organization and in the belief of Don Granato.
Oh yeah.
And the players, they brought in free agents because they wanted, like Connor Clifton came from the Boston Bruins to play for the Sabres because Don Granato had an influence on him when he was 15 years old.
Don Granato is, like I said, I spent a flight cross country with him one time between Vancouver and Boston during that series and talked to him the entire time. And an unbelievably intelligent guy, super kind, super with it, super perspective guy, like who gets like the whole picture, isn't freaking out at little things are happening or whatever. And
players want to play for him.
People want to play for him. People want to win for him. People want to they want him to. They don't want him to lose his job. They want him to be there. They want him to go through this thing. And that's a big thing. When players are, especially in teams like this, at this point, with a guy like Granato, who's not like a famous NHL coach, but the thought could be in that locker room. It's like, we're going to win, we'll get in the playoffs, and then they'll bring in the guy like the Laviolette, for back of a better word, who brings us over the edge. Takes us over the top, right?
Can I? Yeah, it's good that you mentioned Laviolette because I wanted to ask Russ this. We didn't discuss this, but the Evgeny Kuznetsov comments about Laviolette in Washington and how essentially Laviolette was directing him down the road of failure.
Shit.
And now, of course, Laviolette's coach of the Rangers, and Kuznetsov is facing a. Let's just say a crossroads. I mean, he's supposedly it has to be traded now. They're not trading him. They're keeping him under Spencer Carberry. They're trying to get the best out of him. But it's going to make the dynamic of the Washington Rangers games a little more interesting with those comments, Russ.
Yeah. Look, Kuznetsov is a head case. There's no way around it. He did have his peak year with the Capitals when they won the Cup, and he was, flapping his arms, and that was great. But he has always been more about himself than the team, and it's been obvious in many different circumstances on and off the ice.
So he's a better Alexander Semin, he's a better Alexander Semin.
Alexander Semin, right?
Very similar, but he's better. He's better.
I don't think Laviolette would even care what he said, to be honest.
No, and I also think that Laviolette, like a lot of old school coaches, do put guys into boxes, right? And I think that when I'm thinking about the biggest difference between old school and new school coaches is new school coaches definitely want more well-rounded players, like. And I'll even put like Barry Trotz, who has been around for a long time, obviously. But when he moves out like Duchesne, and he moves out, these guys who the really hard things move out, Duchesne and what's his name,
Johansson,
yeah, moving those guys out. Just similar to what Guerin did in Minnesota. These are guys who are like very skilled key players making lots of money, but don't give you very much flexibility because they do one thing or two things very well, and that's it. And I think that what you're seeing, I think you're seeing like. Modern coaches want players who can do everything well, and maybe have a little bit more. There's going to be snipers. There's always going to be tougher guys, but the reality is that there's much more uniformity between the players than there's ever been before.
Now, just before we get to the ESPN stuff, I think the news right now that is, I say percolating because it's unresolved, is the restricted free agents that are right now Jamie Drysdale and Trevor Zegras in Anaheim and Shane Pinto in Ottawa. Take the Anaheim one first. It doesn't sound, the Drysdale thing, he's really locked in. He can't do an offer sheet. Yeah. He's probably going to sign a 1-year deal. He was hurt last year. So, he's probably going to have to take a 1-year deal and sort of not prove himself because he's a very talented kid, but, just put in a good year, stay healthy, and then he'll get paid.
It's just the CBA, basically. Yeah. The CBA gives the Ducks the ability to do this, and he's kind of stuck.
Right. Now, the Zegras thing, okay, I'm not impugning the sources of Renaud Lavoie because he's a good reporter.
Oh yeah, no, he's really good.
But the stuff about Zegers to Buffalo, I mean, it's patently absurd because Buffalo's got two $7 million centers in Tage Thompson and Dylan Cousins.
Yeah.
They're in the process of trying to get Rasmus Dahlin and Owen Power signed. To get a Zegers, you'd probably have to trade one of those centers and maybe one of those defensemen. There's no way in hell the Sabres are doing that. No. So the only thing I can think of is they're trying to shake loose a little cash from the Anaheim Ducks, and they're trying to talk these rumors out there. And maybe it was planted by his agent or whatever. I don't know. Like I said, I'm not impugning Renault's sources. But Zegers is staying in Anaheim. It's just a question of what Anaheim is going to pay him, and they should be paying him more than supposedly they're offering him $4 million. That's a friggin' joke. It should be.
So if you're a team and you're living in and you have your guys living in Anaheim, he's a young guy who loves obviously living probably where they all live, wherever they're Manhattan Beach or whatever they're living at, right? And things are good, life is good, it's always warm, and a rumor comes out that you might trade him to Buffalo. I feel like this feels like a negotiating thing to me, Mike. It feels like
out of the universe, Zach. I
know, and Buffalo, an incredible city with incredible fans. Mike's from Buffalo, but we like people from Buffalo. But the reality is here, like, that this is trading from Southern California to Western New York. Okay, so this is a big. So, and even if it's not true, I mean, I'm sure we'll never know. I'm sure it was floated, and I'm sure Renee, because he just doesn't make up stuff. Somebody told him it, and all you can do if you're a reporter is write it. I can vouch for that. So he writes it, and there you have it, right? So, but I don't think so either. I don't think Ferraro. Ray Ferraro, it seems to be the last person in the world who would want to ever move out. He's going to find a way, I think.
Right.
Now let's on the Pinto thing for a second. This one is interesting. We'll talk about this briefly, and then we'll get into
let's talk Shane Pinto.
Shane Pinto, everyone's favorite, right? The Senators are up against it cap-wise, obviously. They have, really close to the cap ceiling now.
$150,000.
Yeah, that's not even enough to pay Mike. So they're right there at the ceiling. You're worth 5 times that, Mike. And but they're at the ceiling right now. And then the Flyers reportedly, according to multiple sources, offered Morgan Frost in exchange for him.
But that doesn't help them.
No, I think that's a bad trade for the Flyers. I would never, ever, 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 ever do that trade.
This is the misconception here. The Senators don't want to trade Pinto. They want to create the cap to be able to keep Pinto. So because especially right now, apparently Josh Norris, who they signed to a long-term extension, his shoulder, he had major shoulder surgery. He's still feeling pain in his shoulder. He's probably not starting the season active. He's probably going to be on the IR. So they need to sign Pinto. The whole point here is that they're trying to trade reportedly Matthew Joseph.
Yeah,
they're going to have
Matthew Joseph was part of the deal with the Flyers.
Right, that's part of the salary bill. Yeah,
right. But it's like to give the Flyers a sweetener to take Matthew Joseph, who apparently the Flyers like and would like. He's making less than $3 million. Maybe he'd be a productive player with them. I thought it was a bad contract for Ottawa. It's like you needed to pay.
Yeah, it's a bad contract. He has a use on the ice.
Right. But
yeah, he doesn't.
The talk is that they would have to give them either a first round pick or a prospect like Lassie Thompson or Tyler Boucher. I mean, honestly, if that's the price that you have to pay to keep Pinto, then Pierre Dorian has painted himself into a corner. That's the problem here.
I would say here that you don't think this is just a good trade, just straight up hockey trade.
I don't think it's a good trade for the Flyers. I will tell you that. Here's the other part about what they're talking about with the other guys involved in the trade. So, like Lassie Thompson's probably a better guy for the Flyers to get because he's got a big time shot. He's a good skater. Yeah. And even though they have a lot of defensemen, they really don't have a lot of defensemen that are good on the power play. They're actually because right now Cam York has proven his shot is not that accurate from the power play. If it changes, great. Will it change? I don't know, because I've spoken back to a lot of people, especially this past week, about watching him at the NTDP, and he really didn't have to be a power play guy there because they had so many other players. So, there's that. So Thompson could really help in that regard. He had 35 points last year in the AHL, which is good. Tyler Boucher is not Tom Wilson. I want to stress that. Matter of fact, and it's not a knock on Tyler Boucher. It's just
Brian Boucher's kid, right?
Yeah, he's a good guy. He plays physical, but I want people to understand that for all these teams that are looking for a Tom Wilson, like Tom Wilson, I covered him in juniors. I had long conversations. This guy was a two-sport athlete, a track and field guy, and a hockey guy. The strength was way stronger than anybody in juniors at the time, and now stronger than most people in the NHL. Plus, he could score. But I mean, in juniors, he was scoring 20-something goals a year.
Right.
Boucher's not doing that.
Right. The pursuit of the next Tom Wilson is laughable. You see it like
it's
with Boston.
So hard to do.
With Boston,
let's get ourselves a Cale Makar. It's
right.
Well, right. But like Boston drafts John Beecher or Trent Frederick, or in Washington, I think drafted Brett Leeson. They draft these big guys because they think this is the next Tom Wilson. But Tom Wilson has had a unique skill set, and these guys don't. And I'm not saying they're not NHLers, but they don't have that skill set. So, everybody thought Tanner Jeannot was the next Tom Wilson. And then,
so if you get Tyler Boucher, he'll be better than Garnet Hathaway, but he's not going to be Tom Wilson.
But Tom Wilson's a very unique player, and obviously, and it is effective because of the situation he's in too. Like remember, Tom Wilson and the Capitals are a good fit. Like it's not necessarily
he would fit anywhere. It's not true.
He would fit anywhere, but he fits particularly well there because of the Ovechkin factor and the fact that that he keeps people honest. That's they need that. That's a big thing. You don't want Ovechkin to get hurt.
I know it was reported, but the rumor about Frost going to Ottawa made no sense, simply because Ottawa couldn't afford him because Pinto's not signed right now, so he doesn't count against the cap. And then you're adding $2.1 million of Frost, so it didn't make any sense.
Yeah, obviously something more to that. It was obviously about them getting rid of the other money too. The other thing, it was obviously.
And they only paid $800,000 if they trade Joseph in the deal.
Yeah, Dan B in the chat room makes a point that I was just going to say. He's basically like every team adds a Tom Wilson type, and pretty soon it's 1975 all over again. And my basic point is, like, Tom Wilson checks off 3 big boxes. Tyler Boucher checks off 2 of them. Most of the guys check off 2 of them. So you do end up with a good skating big guy who could score a little bit. And the Flyers need, if they're talking about getting bigger and faster, you need bigger, faster who could score too. And that's the other part that the Flyers have not been able to put together. Now, Cutter Gauthier may be the first in that group, but it's hard to get that.
The Flyers are trying to get bigger players? Oh, my God, really?
Well, the Flyers have, we've talked about, we'll talk more about them a lot, obviously, but they, obviously have an identity crisis right now. So they are trying to become something, anything. Like they want to become a thing.
Right.
And the best thing for them to do is to appeal to what people like about the Flyers. So they're going to get big, they're going to get rough, but they also are going to have to get fast. They can't become like, like the Capitals, which are kind of like they're with the exception of a few players, they're slower.
Right.
And, and older. The Flyers are definitely going younger. They didn't bring in some guys because they don't want to be that good yet. The Flyers are in that boat right now, right? So that's the whole thing. So we'll see where that plays out. But let's go to this thing now. The NHL future power rankings. I'm a huge fan of predicting things in the future, like way down the line. We do this. I've done this every couple of years where I do like 5 years from now or whatever. But ESPN did it 3 years from now and decided to do their power rankings. You guys haven't seen it yet, right? So that's good.
No, I haven't. I should have gotten my Karnak turban, like from
I'm gonna go slowly back.
Rule of thumb for the show, if you posted it, I didn't see it.
Yeah, I figured that too. I actually didn't even post the entire thing. So for what it's worth, I just posted some of the ones that I thought.
I never read anything that you write.
I know that. I've learned that by now. That's fine.
I don't even read my own stuff. I have no time.
I know.
Yeah, write his own stuff.
And I read your stuff too, Russ, and it's really good. So on sportsology.com, guys. All right.
He's a bigger plagiarist than Joe Biden.
I even watch when Mike does podcasts with these 2 women in Toronto. I've seen it all. Okay, I know the whole thing. Hey, what are they? What's their names again, Mike?
Ladies Talking Leafs podcast. It's embedded on my blog. I am their insider, which I joke to them and says, if I'm your insider, you're in deep trouble.
No, you're becoming an insider. Okay, here we go. So number 32. This is 3 years from now. They're projecting. Okay, and based on all the possibilities, and I won't even get into how they're getting there, but this was done by not anyone particularly. No one wanted to put their name to this, so it's called NHL Insiders. So this is Mr. Insider's article. So number 32 would be just guess. Just throw it out there, guys.
The Arizona Coyotes.
Nope, they're like 24 somewhere in there. I think.
Flyers.
Nope. How about the Calgary Flames?
Wow.
That's a shot.
I don't think they're there yet, but wow.
I know. How about that? I mean, that's a shot to me. I was kind of surprised about that.
That's a shot.
Well, right. Okay. For me to be consistent, I should have guessed 32 to be the Edmonton Oilers because in 3 years, Connor McDavid will have left.
Oh, boy. And just like that, we're back on the Connor McDavid. I hate Edmonton thing. But yes.
I don't think he hates Edmonton. Yeah. He hates that he hasn't won there and he's going to go to greener or maybe bluer pastures.
Well, I didn't say Connor McDavid hated it. I didn't say Connor McDavid was one who hates Edmonton. Anyway, so talking about someone on the panel. Number 31, I'll give you a guess. We're staying in Canada.
Montreal.
No.
Vancouver.
Yeah, I'll say Vancouver.
Vancouver. 31, 3 years from now. I'm not. I mean, the prospect pool isn't great, right, Russ? But
that's the problem is, like, the prospect pool isn't great, and they have a good core, but they don't have a lot around the core. So I think the thinking is in 3 years, even some of their great players are going to be like Pettersson. What's his contract?
He's up after this year.
Right. So what if all of a sudden they have a bad year this year and Pettersson's the first of those guys to leave?
That's true.
In 3 years, they could end up like that.
Well, if Pettersson leaves, it's a different story. But I kind of think that they're going to keep Pettersson at all costs because I think that they have to. And I think he will. I've not heard that he definitely wants out either.
No, but he wants to get paid. He's in the final year of his deal.
Sure.
He's making a little over $7 million. I'm sure after what Matthews got paid, he's not going to get as much as Matthews and McDavid, but I'm sure he wants to be over $10 million. And they're already paying JT Miller $8, and they're paying Quinn Hughes almost $8. So
which is a steal. Quinn Hughes.
Well, I think so, but and he's
so the bottom line is when I look at a team that's going to be really bad, they usually don't have three of the top players at their positions. I'm not saying Demko is, but Demko could be, if he's healthy, one of the better goalies in the league. I do believe that. Hughes.
Oh, I know he is. I mean, I don't know why people are in question about that. I mean, if you look at the defense on the Canucks, I mean, Quinn Hughes has got a lot better defensively, but they don't have anybody over there.
I know. Hughes, Pettersson, and Demko. That is a solid three.
It is.
That is not bad. That is really something that if you can hang your hat on this.
To me, that doesn't. And they've got a few others.
Yeah, that's not the 31st place team 3 years from now, in my opinion. That's all.
It's not unless Pettersson leaves, and I can't tell you he's not leaving yet.
Right. Okay. Number 30. This shocker, but not necessarily. This I'm not sure if I agree with or totally disagree with. So go ahead, you guys. Who do you think about
the New York Islanders?
It's a Metro Division team.
New York Islanders.
No, I'm going to say Columbus.
You're correct. New York Islanders. New York Islanders 30.
Yeah, it's fair.
Possible. It's possible. I mean, they are. But again, you got one of the best goalies in the league, like Sorokin.
Yeah.
To be 30th.
That's probably the only thing that keeps him out of the bottom third of the league is that Sorokin is going to steal games.
I agree.
But I love Matthew Barzal. I think he's got immense talent. He's not a number. I mean, half the time he's not playing center. Sometimes they have him playing on the wing. I don't like the fact that they've paid so much money for forwards and the team can't score. So that tells you something. That means they're misallocating a lot of their funds.
Right.
And I think there's talent there. I just don't think there's a ton of talent there.
Yeah. I agree with that. But I think that, I don't know, to even call them the worst team in the Metro 3 years from now is a little bit.
Well, it could be them. It still could be Columbus.
I mean, it depends on how they.
It's Philadelphia, definitely.
It could be Philly.
Could be Philly, for sure.
Well, Philadelphia's the worst team right now.
No, but in 3 years, you're thinking Mitchkov is here, so it may not be. That may keep him out of the bottom.
That's true.
I've got some Mitchkov news I'll give at the end, too, by the way. It's kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm.
That's a little teaser. Number 29, Western team.
Well, you already said it's not Arizona. So.
Nashville.
Not Nashville.
San Jose.
San Jose.
See,
I didn't look at this. I swear.
Yeah. No, you're doing pretty well. You have your eye on the prize
San
there.
Jose will be out of it by then.
Sis boom ba. Oh,
One second. I'm just getting a text. I'm sorry.
yeah, no, I mean, okay.
I mean, I think they've got enough young talent coming on there, and
They do.
Well, I mean, your illegitimate son, William Eklund.
Yes,
and,
real reason I'm trending on Twitter right now.
And Will Smith. I mean, there's I mean, the problem is that right now they've got a bunch of players in their late 20s or early 30s, like Couture. They have a lot of dead money with after the Carlson deal.
Right.
Their young players are not ready sort of to step up. They don't really have a goaltender unless Mackenzie Blackwood returns to the where he is now. This is the here and the now. We're talking 3 years from now. Maybe they have solutions, but yeah, I mean, right now I think that I don't know what they have that 3 years from now they're going to be really that good.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I can see some. I can see them. I feel like the GM's smart. I feel like they've got a lot of prospects coming in, and I feel like they also have a lot of picks. So if they can do this, if they can make something happen with this, and they also do have some talent that'll still be pretty good in 3 years. Like some guys are.
Yeah, I agree. I'm holding them in better regard than this list.
Yeah, I am too. All right, so let's go to number 28. 28.
I'll go Nashville again.
Go Nashville again. No, it's not Nashville. We're back in the Metro Division.
Okay. Columbus.
Nope.
Philly.
Nope.
If they're going to say the Rangers, I'm going to disagree.
Nope. It's not the Rangers.
Carolina?
You've named everybody but them, I think.
Oh, Washington. Yeah, I get
Washington Capitals. Right?
that makes sense. That makes sense.
I can see this. This is I can see this.
I can see it.
They are a franchise. They're basically, as they put it in there, they're a franchise in stasis until Ovechkin, shatters Wayne Gretzky's all time, and it's kind of true. I mean, it's not too hard. Let's go to 27. Your division, Mike.
Ottawa.
No, Ottawa's way higher.
Montreal.
Yeah. Are they going to be the worst team? I mean, are they going to be the worst team in 3 years in that division?
Well, I mean, they're the worst team now.
But
I mean, the thing is that everything depends on how Slafkovsky develops, whether he develops into the power forward that they think that they drafted first overall.
Yeah.
Suzuki will be in his mid-20s, but at that point. Whether Caulfield stays healthy and becomes the scorer that we think he's going to be. I think they have some decent pieces on defense, like Caden Gooley. They don't have a goaltender. We don't know. Right now their goalie of the future is Caden Primo. So they don't have a goaltender. In 3 years from now, maybe they sign somebody, but that's a big question mark. So
not hard to get a guy to sign in Montreal. This is the other thing you have to remember. Like as far as free agents go, this is a town that people when the Montreal Canadiens with money. Is an interesting thing,
but there are a lot of holes there.
Actually, there are a lot of holes, but there's going to be a year based on their draft picks and the young talent where they're going to be able to make a trade,
right,
and change it like the Rangers did with Panarin. So I think they're close to that.
They have draft capital. That's the one thing that.
And then they've got some player like Caulfield is a star, and he's going to be a star. And we're going to see more from him, I think, this year. I think we're going to see a great, really coming out party for him this year. If we already have really pretty much anyway. And Suzuki, I'm a real big fan of Suzuki. I think he's super, super solid. I think they have, and then I think St. Louis is the right coach for now. Is he the right coach to take you over the top? Who knows? But at least he makes it. People want to go play for him. So if you're going to get free agents, I think there's going to be guys that are going to come there. Whether or not they'll be able to handle the whole being just an offensive team, if he's that's what I wonder a little bit of. But we'll see. 27, 26. Okay, 26 is one of the ones I took umbrage with in my blog. I thought this was kind of ridiculous. I'm going to go tell you this is a Central Division team.
I'm still going to say Nashville.
You said Nashville. The rest of the and Mike is still frigging dead on. St. Louis, the St. Louis Blues. Yeah. I think the death of the St. Louis Blues is greatly exaggerated right now. This team 2 years ago was pretty damn good, and last year had a ton of injuries and had a tough season. So go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, but the problem is that and again, Robert Thomas is a really talented player.
Yeah,
Jordan Kyrou is growing into a pretty good scorer. Goaltending is a big question mark. I mean, Binnington has not grown over the last few years. He's been more focused on fighting than he is stopping pucks.
Yeah.
I think that Joel Hofer might be a good goaltender who could take over for him. Their defense, Torrey Krug is hurt and he's got 4 years left on a contract.
Yeah.
They've never recovered from the loss of Pietrangelo, and really nobody really jumps out at you when it comes to their, there's not a Tarasenko. There's not a, they don't have Ryan O'Reilly anymore. There's not superstar quality up front. They're good players, but not great players. So, in a division that's going to have Connor Bedard and a division that will still have Nathan McKinnon and Jason Robertson in Dallas, they pale by comparison.
They might. I mean, you might be right. I'm a believer in Armstrong's ability to get things done, though. Like, I'm a believer in Armstrong's ability to fill holes. I think he's one.
I don't know if Armstrong will be there by that time, though.
It's possible, but I don't know. It'd be a really big mistake if they moved him out. I just think he's one of the best out there, and I think that he's done a good job. And he's for sure he's one of the guys who trades away players maybe a little bit before, but he gets more value because he does that. And
I'll say this: if Joel Hofer doesn't turn out to be a top-notch goalie, Anna's with me on this, then they're in trouble. Then they could end up there.
Oh yeah. No,
Anna agrees with you, Russ.
Anna has definite opinions on the Blues, always has. But we'll get back to her in a little bit for her.
She's singing "Angel of the Morning" by wasn't that their Juice Newton or is that
yeah, it was Juice Newton for sure.
Yeah,
Queen of Hearts too. Juice Newton, man.
Wasn't that their theme song? Wasn't "Angel of the Morning" their theme song or something?
Was it?
Somebody in the chat.
No, Gloria. You're talking about Gloria Blues.
Gloria.
Very different. Very different.
Mike's been listening to Angel in the Morning.
No, I haven't. Believe me.
Not okay. So now number 25, Metro Division team.
I'm a big Sheena Easton fan.
I'm gonna guess they're going with the Rangers here.
Nope.
What division?
25 Metro Division.
Carolina.
Mike's been nailing it. No.
Wait.
Well, we already said the Islanders.
The Islanders are already
then it's
Columbus?
Nope. We've already had the Islanders and the Capitals.
Then it's the Flyers.
That's the Flyers.
Then it'll be the Flyers, 25th. Not necessarily wrong, but
no, I mean, they're still, even when Mitchkov comes, if a lot of things aren't in place,
right,
they still could have some trouble.
In 3 years, he may be a rookie because he, he might not be. Gauthier will be in the league at that point. Who's the goaltender? Will it be Hart? Will it be, Fedotov? There's question marks on defense. There's a lot. Again, there's a lot of
question marks. Yeah. But also some half decent players that are going to be coming into their prime at that point too.
And more than likely, Torts will not be there in 3 years.
Torts will not be there. But Mitchkov, I've heard on good reliable sources that he'll be here as early as next year, which is people are surprised by, but I'm not willing to give that more than like an 83 right now. But if I can find one more person, I do believe that part of the plan was why the Flyers, when they met with them, I do believe that part of the plan was that they were going to get
keep loaning him out to HC Sochi instead of playing him with
Scott. The only thing I could say is it's not within the Flyers' power as much as it is if they get tired of him contract wise. And I did mention this year that they are talking about what to do about his contract. So I'd say there's a possibility.
Yeah, I think there's a really good possibility. And I think that he knows it and they know it. And he has something that I don't think other teams knew about, that the Flyers knew about at the draft. That's my feeling. But we'll find out more about that as we go here, but we'll see. But so 24, this is another one I took umbrage with.
You said the Coyotes.
You said the Coyotes. No, we're going back to the Atlantic Division.
Oh, I thought you said the Coyotes were 24. Or
no, they aren't. They aren't actually. They're higher than this. Sorry, they're around 24. I thought, yeah, but they're higher than this. Yep.
You said Atlantic Division.
Atlantic Division. This one, I think they're crazy. Nope, not Tampa.
It's not.
I'm done guessing.
Detroit.
Nope, not Detroit. Detroit's no. Mm-mm. This would be the Boston Bruins for them. I've learned. Have we not learned that the Bruins are not going to fall?
Well, okay. I'll just say this. It's an early preseason game, so it's not an indicator of anything. But when you saw the collection of what was playing the Sabres last night, which was Milan Lucic, Matt Grzelcyk, and the Providence Bruins. They obviously held back all their players. Yeah. I mean, the big question marks right now are Zacha and Coyle being able to replace Krejci and Bergeron. If I had to bet money, I'd say not a friggin' chance. Will they be able
to replace Bergeron? But I think Zacha can replace.
Well, he could, but what I'm saying is, I look at that team in 3 years with the money that they have, will they be able to peel off a number one center? Probably. But the thing is, it's not for sure. It's not 100%.
Number one center is not for sure. Maybe they'll be able to trade a goalie, but you still may not get the right number one center.
Right.
There's going to be a rebuild process, so I do think they're in this spot, and they will be.
You think this is about right for them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
All right, 23. We're going to go a little faster because we got to stop right at 3. 23, we are going – this is where Arizona is. Sorry, I'll just tell you Arizona is here.
Okay.
So Arizona, the worst –
Arizona ahead of Boston is an atrocity. I'm sorry.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, Boston, the best record in the NHL. I mean, we're talking 3 years down the line, okay? But still.
And the reason – okay, wash, rinse, repeat. Edmonton, check. My ripping on Arizona, check. I mean,
let's talk Brian Campbell.
This is a joke. This is a joke of a franchise that shouldn't be in Arizona. If they're still in Arizona in 3 years, it's a disgrace to the NHL. It needs to be moved, whether it's Salt Lake City or Atlanta or San Diego.
They won't be in Arizona in 3 years. I feel like
I would hope so. Now they do have Logan Cooley, and everybody's excited.
What a goal. That was something, wasn't it? I mean, come on.
I mean, and I think he's gonna give Bedard a run for the money for the Calder. But there's again, I don't think Carl Velmelka will be there in 3 years. I don't know about their defense, and there's not a lot of depth in that organization past him and Dylan Gunther and a couple other prospects. So it's not.
Yeah,
it's iffy. I mean, what do you think, Russ? You think this is right for them about?
Yeah, I do think it's right for them because again. We don't know about goaltending.
Yeah.
We don't know where they're going to be playing.
Do you put them ahead of Boston?
One spot, sure, because they just right now, based on if Keller's staying and they have Cooley, and like Mike said with Gunther, they're going to have better prospects that'll turn into better players than what Boston will have left at that point. So I do think that's just because, again, they're going to have another high swing this year.
That's true, too. All right, number 22, back to the Metro division, which is Metro is like getting slammed in this thing. Considered by most like right now to be one of the top divisions in hockey.
This is probably where they put the Rangers.
Yeah.
Nope.
Wow.
Carolina.
Nope.
Devils.
Nope.
Who?
You named everyone but who it is.
Then it's Columbus.
No.
Who?
Pittsburgh Penguins, guys.
Oh, Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh Penguins.
About right.
This I think is about right. I have no problem with this. I mean,
I have no problem with it.
They're heading. I mean, they are really shooting their shot for these next couple years here.
See, at this point, this is where where the bringing in Dubas may pay dividends if you believe that Dubas has a good nose for talent. Because at this point, either Crosby's retired, Malkin's retired, Letang's retired. Like a lot of these guys are in 3 years are probably either retired or going to get bought out. And that's when like they're going to be drafting high. And that's when Dubas is going to have to refill the coffers.
I can see Crosby just staying.
Oh, he could. I'm just saying.
I don't think. I mean, he could go someplace with big more money, but I could see him becoming just a guy who just wants to be a Penguin.
He always wanted to be a Canadian.
It's true. It's true. They could be good. They could be pretty good in 3 years. Number 21. Back into the Atlantic Division. 21.
I think Crosby's there for good. Just saying.
Yeah, I do too. 21. Back to the Atlantic.
Tampa's
good. Yep.
Yeah, Tampa makes sense.
That does make sense.
We didn't mention this, and I'm sure that we'll follow this throughout the year.
Mm-hmm.
But what they're pulling with Steven Stamkos is a disgrace. Because
really
what they're doing here is they've paid everybody that they wanted to keep a year before.
Yeah.
And what they're doing here is they're saying, we didn't pay Killorn, we didn't pay Palat, we're not paying you. If you want to stay, you're going to have to take, like 8 years ago, you're going to have to take the money we offer you. And I'm pretty sure that Steven Stamkos this time around is going to say F you. Because
I think he's going to be a trade line talk that we do a lot of this year.
sure.
I think Steven Stamkos is the early predictor for that. But I do think that he'll be gone as well. I don't know that it's necessarily wrong for Tampa to. I mean, the way they're doing it, yes, but I think at the same time, this is time to move on from Stamkos for Tampa. I really do. I don't think they should.
Here's what I would say.
Okay.
This guy is a generational talent, and as good as Tampa has been at drafting, they haven't been able to replace. Now, granted, they haven't been drafting all that high lately, but they haven't been able to replace any of their generational / Hall of Fame players. Not one.
Yeah.
The minute you let Stamkos go, he is still going to have 3 or 4 really good years, 30 to 40 to 50 goals somewhere, because he will always get power play goals, and he is always going to come up in big spots. Until he can't walk anymore, it's going to be the same as Steve Yzerman.
Yeah, Yzerman and Brisebois did a really good job of supplementing that core group. But the problem is they had not added to the core. The last time they added to the core group was Braden Point.
Yeah, I mean they won without Stamkos being a factor too. They won with him being a factor. They won without him being a factor. They've different situations. You know, like I don't know. I think Brisebois is pretty smart. I think he's pretty sharp.
I think he's trying to get Stamkos to do what he did in 2016.
Right.
We want you to stay. We'd love for you to stay, but we can't pay you because we're paying everybody else. So take what we're offering you. And honestly,
what would you legitimately? We can move on quickly, but what would you legitimately offer him?
If I'm them, he's 33 years old. I'd probably offer him a 4-year deal at about $7.5 million.
Yeah, I'd offer him that.
All right, let's move to number 20. 20 is the Edmonton Oilers. I'm just going to give you the team. Right? So 20 is where the Edmonton Oilers are. Mike laughs.
I think one of their big 2 is going to leave, so I agree with it.
Leon Draisaitl was playing in Boston as their number 1 center when he leaves in free agency.
Yeah, right.
And Connor McDavid replaces Tavares in Toronto. There you go.
Okay. Number 19. Back to the Atlantic Division.
Toronto. They're probably saying Toronto.
Yep, Toronto at 19.
That's a joke.
I think this is ridiculous. I do.
Yeah,
this is another one I said.
Now, granted, and granted, their defense right now, they have one really good defenseman in Morgan Riley. They have a bunch of aging guys. Guys are a little small. I think Liljegren's an NHL defenseman. Their goaltending is a question mark going into this season. Well, in 3 years, one of the Russian kids that they drafted, who they liked a lot, will they be there? I mean, Austin Matthews will be 29.
Which is total prime career, and Marner's 30, right? So that'll be right there.
And William Nylander will be playing in Los Angeles
or Russia. This is so the I don't know. I'm just kidding.
Russia,
but the team ahead of them at number 18,
Florida,
Central Division, not Florida. Chicago. Yeah, Chicago. Can you put Chicago?
No, I don't agree with that.
In 3 years ahead of Toronto, there's not a freaking way in hell you can do that in my mind.
No, because they'll still have Seth Jones. They'll have Bedard.
Yeah. It's all about what they do to build around Bedard. I mean,
they have Korchinski. So in other words, they're building the same kind of
they have
rotation and core that they had before.
They have Nazar. They have Korchinski. They have
they're going to be good faster than they should be good. But they're going
to excel. This is not.
And it's a great, easy place to get people to sign with Bedard. It makes it just ridiculously easy to get people to sign there. Maybe
Keeso will be their number 1 goaltender. I mean, there's a lot of question marks. That's the whole.
Is anybody happier than Taylor Hall? I mean, playing with Bedard this year. It's going to be fantastic to watch.
The only 2 people happier than Taylor Hall are Nick Foligno and Corey Perry for getting overpaid to protect Connor Bedard.
Like, I'm trying to pace here. Can we take this to 305 or no? We good?
Yeah,
305 is fine. Yeah.
For you guys, 305. I can pace it better that way. That's cool. Okay, so number 17, Russ, Atlantic Division. You've been saying this team all the time. This is where they have the Rangers. This is where they put the Rangers at 17.
Oh, you said Atlantic, not Metro.
I'm sorry, Metro at 17. This is the Rangers. They put the Rangers.
And then I brought in someone from the Central. Yeah, okay. I mean, here's what I'll say about the Rangers. I mean, Shesterkin will still be there.
Yeah.
Fox will still be there.
Fox will definitely still be there. I think this person is assuming that Hedl Lafreniere and all of them will be a bust. I don't think so. Kako, I don't think that'll be the case.
Panarin will be 3 years older.
Yeah, but that's fine. I think they'll be better than this, but I don't think it's too crazy to say they're going to fall off at some point and going to have to, retool again. But it won't be that year.
Why don't you give us one and then skip to the next one so we can get to
We'll go to 16 Anaheim Ducks.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, that's assuming a lot. I mean, that's
assuming a whole lot.
That's assuming Carlson's a hit.
Right. We don't know enough about the Ducks right now.
McTavish and Zegras continue.
Yeah, you gotta hope that Gibson's still good.
Right.
15 back to the Atlantic, Mike.
Ottawa.
Correct.
Yeah.
And I like that pick.
I think they should be lower. They don't have any goaltending yet. Where's the
goaltending yet? But they do.
I love the triumvirate right now. Although Chikrin might not be there in 3 years, but Sanderson and Shabbat.
Yeah, that defense is pretty solid.
I just want to know where their goaltending's coming from.
Right, exactly. 14, and this is the best team according to ESPN in Canada in 3 years. 14 is the only Canadian team we haven't mentioned. Obviously, the Winnipeg Jets. That is to me baffling.
Yeah, if they don't have Hellebuck, I don't see how that's happening.
Yeah,
and they prospect-wise aren't awesome from what I understand.
They have some good ones though.
Perfetti is pretty good.
And Morrissey, look, he could have been a Norris last year if he'd have stayed healthy. So they have some good young players. I just don't know where the goaltending is.
Yeah, I honestly think that the prediction that in 3 years the Winnipeg Jets will be the best team in Canada just shows how inaccurate this thing is.
I would put almost everyone ahead of them except for maybe Calgary. Besides that, I would say I'd put everybody ahead of them. Number 13, Rush, you've wanted this team for a long time.
The Nashville Predators.
The Nashville Predators at 13. This is way too high for them.
Way too high for them. I mean, Saros will be gone by then. Yeah. I don't know who their next goalie really is going to be.
Well, Askarov. They're trying to trade Askarov. That's
but that's what I'm worried about now. I have to see Askarov play again because I really liked him, but that was a few years ago. I got to see him again now and see if there's a difference. But as far as prospects, they don't have enough.
I'm with you on that 100%. Number 12, back to the Atlantic Division, Mike.
Florida,
right. So Florida and Nashville, they gave an overall score of the same. So I don't know why they put Florida ahead of them. For their scoring system or whatever, they're both 77.7. I don't know what that means exactly.
Well,
but Florida, I think this is a little. I think Florida's actually in the top 10 right now. I do. Based on what we saw.
I mean, at 3 years, I believe Bobrovsky's contract expires.
Right, he'll be gone.
They're assuming Spencer Knight will be the number one defensively. Ekblad 3 years from now, he's had so many injuries, he might be retired by then.
Yeah, it's hard to say.
I like Lundell, I like Barkov, I like Kachuk. There's a lot of talent there. We don't know whether guys like Bennett and Sam Reinhart will be there. So it's a little. I think it's a little high for me.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see about that. 11, the Colorado Avalanche. So they're putting them just slightly ahead of the Predators. I don't think that's wrong. I think that's
I don't think that's wrong either. Maybe Georgiev's gone by then, and there's
the goaltending is the big question mark.
Right. Yeah. And the Los Angeles Kings.
Yeah.
Agreed. The addition of Dubois helps him out a lot.
It does. If depending on what he does, he is so
enigmatic.
It's crazy. You would think that it's not the best place to put him, I would say, if I was going to get a guy to try to start concentrating on hockey. But anything possible. Number 10, or that was number 10 is the Kings. Number 9, the Metro Division.
Metro. New Jersey.
Nope.
Columbus
at number 9.
Yeah, I think they should have been lower. I don't know where their goaltending is going to be. At that point, Gaudreau's getting a little older.
Yeah.
Werenski could be all banged up again by then.
I think his contract is up in 3 years. So
yeah. So this was also. I think this was done, but probably did this before Babcock's was. I don't know. Maybe they did, or maybe they didn't. I don't know. Number 8.
That's fair.
Number 8, Western team.
Dallas?
Nope. Dallas was a good guess, but the Vegas Golden Knights is where they have the Vegas Golden Knights at number 8 3 years from now.
I wonder who the goalie will be in 3 years.
That's the big thing, right? And it's got to be Logan Thompson, right? So if it's Logan Thompson, then maybe. But if it's not Logan Thompson, I don't see them here in 3 years.
Well, it could be somebody,
It could be somebody else, but but I don't, not within their system. I mean, number 7 ahead of them, a team that Russ always likes. Russ, Central Division.
Central, I always like. I don't even know who else left.
Minnesota Wild.
Minnesota Wild. Mike,
Oh yeah,
good.
I should have figured that.
You think they're ahead of the Knights?
I do, because now if Gustafson's their backup, and he's the guy now that Fleury's gone. Yeah, I mean they're in good shape.
And then they'll have Wallstat too, and
Kaprizov will be near the end of his contract,
and they'll be finally out from under the cap. They'll finally be out from under the cap recapture.
Yeah, I think it makes sense.
All right, the rest of this number 6, Dallas Stars.
Oh,
no doubt.
That's a good spot. But number 5, the Seattle Kraken. No.
Nah.
I
Well,
can't say it because I still don't know where the goaltending is coming from.
Exactly. And number 5, I mean, that's assuming a hell of a lot.
well, what that's assuming is that Shane Wright is a star, because
Yeah.
I mean, 3 years from now we're going to say that Dave Hackstall's Andy Reid, and he's going to all of a sudden.
I know, right? That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Number 4,
I don't know.
Wait, he's doing State Farm commercials?
No, winning, Mike. Winning.
Number 4, the Detroit Red Wings.
Okay.
In 3 years, top 5.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's assuming Kosa is the
Kosa has to be the man. Yes.
I'm going to do my 32 tomorrow in my blog, but I'm just number 3, the Buffalo Sabres.
Yes.
That's all depending on, and that is all depending on one guy, Devin Levi. If Devin Levi is a goaltender, a good goaltender, that can start 50. Now, at that point, he'll be 24 years old. He's 21 right now. But Devin Levi, if Devin Levi is an average goaltender, they're going to have a tough time making the playoffs.
Really tough time. I agree. Number 2, Russ, you're picking these guys all the time, even far back down, but
New Jersey.
This would be the Carolina Hurricanes.
So New Jersey's number 1.
New Jersey's number 1. That means
New Jersey should be number 1. I mean, go look at the preseason game and what they did to the Flyers.
Lindy Ruff.
And this is with Jack Hughes' whole line not even there. They are loaded to the point where yes, I do believe New Jersey will be right where they are. I think that's just.
I think that's about right. And Carolina,
yeah, because they have Kochetkov. He's going to be their next goalie, and so
true.
Yeah, I think.
Position with the Metro, they have the top 2 teams from the Metro, but then there's a big drop off in their mind 3 years from now to everybody else in the Metro, which is, that's not unreasonable. I guess
the hardest division. I still think that.
Yeah, it is. I think so too. I mean, those 2 teams will be very, very good. So that's it for this thing. I just thought it was pretty interesting, and we can definitely, we could go in more detail, of course, if we have more time. But remember, folks, we'll be back again. So we're going to be back on Friday. What we're going to do, guys, for now is we're going to go Monday, Wednesday, and Friday until the season starts. So we're going to have to start getting into some predictions pretty soon, though, because the season's only 2 more weeks. So we're talking the next week and the week after that will be Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. We're going to have to start talking predictions. We're going to have to get into there.
That's fine.
All right, so we'll see you then. Remember, without the buzz, it is just hockey. Thank you so much for being with us. Thank you for watching us. Please tell your friends, like, subscribe, do all those things. Without the buzz, it's just hockey.